How's it going, everyone? Nate with Colorado Custom Leather and Blade. So, I want to talk to you guys about some stuff in the security industry because I work in that as well. So this is not really a knife-related video or what I do in my profession of knife making. I'm actually doing some tactical tomahawks right now, so I'm going to show you a sneak peek of those. But I'm going to do a 20-minute video basically talking about what I observe in the industry. And this is an industry that I actually care about, that I see that there's some major changes that need to happen, and I think they're going to be forced to. Yeah, well, it's just, if you're in the industry, great. Comment, tell me I'm stupid, or you agree, what you agree with, and I may talk more about this stuff in the future because I'm not gonna leave the industry. I'm just gonna do it as contracting every now and then. But with that being said, let's show you some cool stuff. You can obviously see right here, I'm hand sanding what I call the tactical force hatchet, and then I'm going to show you my prototype of the Danehawk. I'm working on a trademark and potentially patenting it. I love this design. It's been in my brain, and I finally got some things made, and I actually have a physical Danehawk now after 3 years that I can really start building on it. So let's show you some things. Boom, hand sanding. That epoxy is done. It's hard. It's ready for that one to be ready. And then I got those ones. So these are the last two for the night. I've been working since about 8:30 in the morning. And it is now, yep. All right, so then saw it. You just kind of got a glimpse of it, but I'm not going to show you too much because I want to show more and talk more about it on the Sticks and Steel episode of the Danehawk. And that is what this is. Okay, so you got the little skull there, or as my wife likes to point out, smiley face with crazy hair like me. And then you got that. And then this, just freaking love it. Cannot wait to do some testing. But boom, that's all you get to see. So excited about this design and just improving on it and making it that much better. I believe in it. I cannot wait to use it. And let's get to the main topic now. Security. Security industry. I have a heart for what it could be versus what it is. So in context, I'm going to talk about basically what this video is in 5 different things. Number one, starting with the two types of individuals that I see the most. That is the issue. Number two is the owners and how companies are operated and run. And number three is going to be uniforms that I cannot stand. Number four is going to be there needs to be a standard. And last but not least, the what I see the future of the security industry, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Basically, there's going to be a fourth segment. So my background. Now, actually, I'm going to tell you this. Okay, give me 20 minutes of your time because that's about what I've tried to do this video 3 times now and I cannot get past. I go over 15 minutes, so I'm just going to do it at 20. Give me your time with that, especially if you're in this industry. If you think I'm absolutely wrong, I care about it enough that I need to be held accountable to my thoughts and either think differently or I need to step away. I mean, it's as simple as that. But if you agree or you can help me understand some things, greatly appreciative. Or if you just like, hey, you're dumb, why did you even do this video? That's fine too. I don't care. But if you're in this industry, tell me which, I mean, you don't have to go into detail, but if you're at the low level, mid level, the very high level stuff, cool. But I think it kind of has some transparency through all of that, especially with the company ownership or how things are ran. I think that needs to be the bigger change. But with that being said, let's start. The 2 types of individuals. Oh, wait. My background. Nothing sexy. Probably going to turn it off after that. That's fine. I'd rather you hear that versus think or somebody portray themselves to be something that they're not, but they wish they could be, known as a wannabe, known as stealing other people's valor, and that's not me. Okay? I have too much respect for... I have friends and family that were in the soft communities, regular Army, Marines, law enforcement, whatever. I have too much respect to for those individuals that have served or currently serving in those to portray myself as that. Nope, not me. I'm naturally just good at what I do. I do have a warrior mindset and heart. I do try to keep my mind sharp and my body sharp and my skills sharp for just myself in general, not just on the job. But with that being said, let's start with the two individuals. You have number one, and I need to get to hand setting after this. This is going to be the longer part of the video, is the two individuals I see the most. And that is the number one, exactly who I just talked about. The person that thinks they are super high speed and they do not have that background. Or they have a background, but they still think they're super high speed. Or higher speed than what they were. I don't know if that makes sense. Or you have the individual that is a complete, number two, is a complete slob. Just mentally, physically, the morale they have, just everything, their uniform, how they present themselves. And I won't say, sometimes I let my beard get a little crazy, looking like a freaking transient. But I mean, so what? I'm talking more or less body odor, the whole package there. And that's a problem because it's a reflection on all of us. But starting with the first individual, and if this offends you, I shrug my shoulders, because this is one of the bigger things that I have an issue with, is people that do have a background that is way more than just a security personnel, and they think they're a door kicker. We're not door kickers. I mean, if you have to clear a building, if you have to clear a room, there's something really, really freaking bad that just happened. And, if you have to, you have to, but that should not be your go-to mindset, in my opinion, in my professional opinion. Should you be able to do those things? Absolutely. What I mean by that is the company I work for, the second time around, I was going through orientation, and their training videos they have now. And just to let you know, their trainers haven't even watched the training video that we see, waiting for, it's kind of a lull time going through paperwork and different offices and stuff, and that's kind of what they have you watch. So there's an individual that does have a military background, and I understand that transitioning out of the military, from my friends and family that have, is difficult. So I'm not knocking that. But this individual was on patrol, had a professional camera crew for their YouTube video or their YouTube channel to help with recruitment into the company. Was following them around on that night for work, for his detail, whatever you want to call it, for his post. And he gets a call of a apartment complex of an alarm. Okay, so they go to it. He arrives. He radios the dispatch, hey, I'm at said location. And him and the camera crew get out. And even before this, the way this guy talks, acts, moves, is he is super, good at his job, passionate about his job, that's one thing. But super going high speed versus what his background was. And again, he did have a military background. I'm not knocking that. But there's 4 things that is an issue with what he did. Okay? So he arrives to the scene, tells the camera crew, he arrives at the scene, sees that there's a entry into the building, draws his firearm, flag number 1, and probably the biggest. Number 2, tells the camera crew person, hey, whatever happens, I need you to stay behind me. Number 3 is enters the building and clears it with his gun light. And number 4 is not taking in situational awareness, seeing that there's a microwave and some other things that showed that there's electricity, and there's a freaking light switch that he shows in his body cam and in the camera's man's view on the side of the wall, and doesn't click it on and just clears the whole freaking floor with his pistol and the cameraman. Either it was staged, whatever, but I don't think it was. That is an issue. That is the type of individuals that some people hire. Number 2 example is the individual that is a slob. Okay. And this is an interesting one because I thought at first, and everybody did that I worked with, that this guy was full of crap, but he had an 18 X-ray contract with an Army recruiter. Don't think he made it in just because his fitness standard, his physical body was just nope. And I mean, the guy fell asleep at his job all the time. Some of his firearm handling was questionable. Just a lot of things. I mean, not saying that he can't make it into the Army, but just how he carried himself even on the job, which he didn't last too long in the detail. He got fired and then he came back, but then he quit. But anyways, the dude was a slob. Didn't dress right. He smelled weird. Fell asleep on the job during a night shift all the time, and there was 12-hour shifts. Wasn't really reliable to his team while they were there. And it was an easy detail at the time. I'm not going to go into specifics of it, but just those are the two types of individuals. And again, I try to stay at the middle because I can become either one of those. And I just, I don't want to give that typical mall cop what people say, you're a freaking mall cop. What are your security guard? Ooh, I don't want to give a bad reputation on this industry because I think it does have a place. It does have a lane, especially in the future. So number 2 is how companies ran. And now I can start hand sanding. If you're an owner of this and this also offends you, well, oh well. I mean, if you don't see it in yours, good job. You're actually running it how you're supposed to. What I think is there are people that see the future of the security industry, that it's going to be very lucrative. I think there's going to be a lot more personal protection, and the standards will lax in a way, but be more strenuent as far as like you have to have a background for X, Y, and Z, or they would prefer that. You're not going to have that a lot. I don't see that happening in the future of people wanting to enter into those things when they would just might as well stay in where they're at. And I'll talk more about that at the end. But this is the biggest thing, and I'll move on from it because I have 8 minutes left. Owners of security companies want professional individuals, but they do not want to give professional pay. And I'm not even saying like for someone like me that, am I saying I'm worth $32.50 an hour? No, but I am going to say that you should offer the individual that does have a little bit of experience, that does have a good standing, the way he maintained himself and showed himself when he worked for you the first time, that when you advertise a post for between $23 or $22.50 to $24.50 an hour, maybe not try to say, oh no, in the interview, this is actually for $21 an hour. But because there is such a huge churn in the security industry right now, that you're just going to fly through people, and they do. Man, do they do that. Escaping with that $21 offers is nothing to them because they know there's going to be 4 more and it's going to line up as soon as you can't make it your 6 months and you have to pay back that training, which is bullshit. But I digress. I think there should be a proving point, like, yeah, entertain them, like, yeah, all right, I'll tell you what, we'll talk more about that, $26 an hour or whatever. And there are companies that do pay that. I'm not saying that, hey, that's what I wish I was making. I know what I'm worth. And I know what I'm making right now is not my worth. And but because I don't have the background like a lot of individuals do, that honestly don't show that they should be paying what they do, because they don't do their job, they just have the background, and that's the issue. But again, going back to the simplification of what I'm trying to say is, they want professional individuals, but they don't want to give professional pay, and or they don't give them a chance, or they, because of their background, give them too many chances, or they just know there's a huge churn rate and they don't care because they're making hand over fist money with these contracts, and they'll just fly through people because regardless if somebody's there or not, they're getting paid for that contract. That's how this business works. Okay, so it's a huge lucrative industry regardless if they have the top line people, which is what they should strive for, and have maybe not as many contracts and grow from there, versus, oh, I can hire 90 people right now and throw them in there, even though maybe 15 to 18 of them are actually going to stay around for 2 years and actually excel in the company. Okay. The other thing, and kind of going with the uniforms, if you are going to hire armed individuals, one, you should probably up your standards. And I'm not saying, law enforcement, or which is a good basic for kind of the realms that we're in, but having a standard beyond just being able to pass a firearms test, and some of it's just literally, can you hit paper? And that's freaking scary. That is terrifying. That some people then are putting to a detail, but I'm gonna talk about that more in a second. When I talk about qualifications and a standard, but if you're gonna have armed individuals out there, it should be a mandatory thing that you should issue them a taser and not a firearm and mandatory 2 mags, which a lot of states require. It should be a taser, because you're not giving a lot of choices. Now, a lot of the patrols and stuff like that have these things, but when you're a static individual like me, or a protection agent like myself, if you're going to have them armed, unless it's in civilian clothing, you can't really do a taser in that, but there should be a taser option, I think. Also with that, and I cannot freaking stress this enough, as we're going to go into uniforms, have the decency, if you're not going to give them a professional wage, okay, if you're not going to pay them what they're worth, buy freaking body armor for them and issue it to them. If they don't pay it back, then you can report that as stolen property. However, if you're not going to pay them so they can buy body armor and write this off within a year, whatever, then have the decency and have the heart for the individuals that are going to be in these things, because if they're going to an armed area for a reason, or a post for a reason, they should probably have body armor if they're going to be armed, because that's for a reason they are armed. Just saying. Not saying that shit's going to pop off all the time. That should never happen. But it should be that you respect them and you care about their well-being and you want them to go home at the end of the day. Just saying. Have the decency of that. Moving the uniforms. I'm going to go over 20 minutes. I'm so sorry, guys. Uniforms that look too much like law enforcement drive me up a freaking wall, especially like mine. We have the nice little winter jacket, which is nice because it's cold here in Colorado sometimes. But when you have a plastic shield, and I'm not saying I want a metal one because that's impersonating a law enforcement officer, but it's kind of a slap in the face of those that actually have earned that shield and have it kind of where it's supposed to be on the jacket, and it looks like it from a distance. And that's what some states and cities and the government require these industries to have, and I think it needs to freaking stop because it is impersonation. We look more like law enforcement than we do security. Just to make this simple and moving on to the next subject, what's so wrong with having khaki pants, cargo pants that are tactical? Sure, we kind of do. We carry a lot of gear on us, so that kind of puts us in the realm of we can qualify for some tactical gear, okay? Small amount, okay? Because it's all about having options for the things like I carry 2 tourniquets. I carry a firearm. I should carry tourniquets probably. Now we have to have handcuffs. Freaking hate that because I am not going to pull those out. That is a fast track way to get a felony in this industry. Unless a law enforcement officer says, hey, I want you to cuff that person. I'm not freaking doing it. No. Nope. I'd rather that person walk the frick away. Or I can just keep tabs on them. Unless they're, no. I don't, there's too many gray areas. No, just no. Anyways, khaki pants, black, tactical, whatever. As long as it's appropriate and professional, it looks the part. And a polo neck button-up shirt that has security right here, or maybe the company name. And then even a Velcro area patch on the back that says security or protection agent or something of that. That makes more sense and it makes it look more like the part than it does law enforcement. I hate having the shield emblems on my shoulders. Just freaking no. No, 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 no. No. And that's as far as it goes. I mean, having a jacket or something like that, yeah. Staying away from law enforcement colors the best as possible. I'm not saying going like the traditional mall cop, black pants, white shirt, and a little cap. Nope, not gonna do that one either. But it needs to change. It really does, because I respect too many people that have that badge and earn that uniform, and we look too much like them, and people do not know how to differentiate between the two. And I'm saying that by experience, and I educate people all the time. I am not a cop. I am not a law enforcement officer. I am a protection agent at best, and that's it. I'm a glorified security dude because I earned the right to carry my firearm on the job, and I'm good with it, and I'm good with my mind in this job. So, anyways, going to the next subject here. The much hand sanding I've got done. The standard, I think that should be there, and that is not. Number one, and if this offends you, it offends you. Okay. I don't want a 450-pound man backing me up if things go wrong and we get in a gunfight and we have to get people out, or there's a active event going on and we're maybe not in a gunfight, but it is a very high stressful situation and we have to move freaking fast and get people out of there. I don't want to rely on a 450-pound man that's not Brian. That was not planned. Shaw classic, Brian Shaw. Anyways, unless you're Brian Shaw and you're 450 pounds of solid freaking muscle, no, I don't want you backing me up. Like I need to improve my standards a little bit more in cardio and stuff like that, but I cannot stand the 450-pound guy that barely fits in his uniform and his stomach's hanging out of his shirt almost, and can't wear his pants on right, and his no. Also, the individual that is super anorexic looking or female, doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not going to this is equal here, male or female. Like if you are not physically if you cannot, let me just put it to you like this. If you cannot do the minimum, and I can do way more than this, if you can't do 20 freaking push-ups in 40 seconds or a minute, that is like the lowest criteria I can think of a fitness physical standard physical test. If you can't do 20 push-ups in freaking 40 seconds, you should not be armed. You should not be in this profession. If you can't even run a mile, I don't care what time it's in, unless it's like 40 minutes, then no, you should not be in this position. If you can't, like, let me put it to you like this, and I know I'm taking more time. When I sometimes ask our client what other security personnel do, and they just say they basically just stand there. It's like they don't patrol. It's like, well, one guy kind of does, but not as much as you. I'm not lying when I say this, and I'm not trying to brag. And if this is something to be grateful for, I don't know, but I walk on average in 3 freaking days and 9-hour shifts, 21,000 steps. Basically, what I've averaged it to, I walk between 34 and 39 miles in 3 days on shift. Maybe a little bit home, a little bit, but a lot of that is done while I'm at work. I started doing calf raises now because I'm so busy doing knife work. Because I'm doing freaking videos all the time. I'm not even hand sitting. No, I'm joking. I'm starting to do calf raises. I do 900 calf raises in a shift. I'm pretty sure people can do a lot more than that, but I'm just saying, like, I don't care if people are looking at me funny because I'm doing freaking calf raises. I'm trying to keep my body in shape, so I'm not just. I'm looking the part. Like I'm looking like if something goes down, I'm not going to be that individual that runs away. And doesn't help anybody or get involved if I have to. That is not who I am. But that is an issue. There is no real physical standard, and there needs to be. Ending to the last subject here. Oh, one more thing on the uniform. Earpiece, okay? Freaking leave it alone, man. I am not going to have my earpiece in. I've had too many situations. Sure, was I listening to a podcast or a book subject-minded to observation or things going on in the world that I need to know about, that I need to pay attention to, because those are real things that could potentially happen? The job of security is observation 101. That is what we do. That is 100%, or at least, I mean, and I've done, I've done some EP stuff. I've done actual protection details. Those are the things I like to do more than what I'm doing now. But observation, I'm listening to books. My point is this, though: when I've had to call law enforcement, either emergency or non-emergency, what I was not doing is having my phone in my hand, limiting myself to just one hand now, or looking around for my Bluetooth and popping in my ear. Hopefully it's in there while I'm trying to observe what's going on, and dropping it on the floor. So nope, it's right there, because look, non-emergency or 911, whatever, is right there, and I can see what's going on. I had a dude pick up a rock as I was calling non-emergency, ready to throw it at some people. And you can laugh at that all you want, but if I had to look away and I didn't see that, if he wanted to throw that at me, rocks kill people. Okay, it's one of the first primal weapons we had. But anyways, going back to the segue, I see this industry for what it could be. And I do see that there's going to be a shift. There's going to be a major shift. There's going to be the low level, and then there's just going to be the other. And that can go all the way up to, and again, I'm talking like the stuff that I can't get into. That's its own entity. Maybe some stuff can go in there with ownership and hiring the right individual for the job or so forth. But even contracting overseas and stuff. I've read many stories of dudes that had no law enforcement, no military experience, but they just proved themselves, and they worked their way up to where those tier 1 individuals, worked in after the military, and, they had a good career. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just trying to stay realistic into the time of not talking about that stuff, which would be awesome. But I'm talking about there's going to be that mall cop individual, or there's going to be the other, which is going to look different. The uniform's going to be different if there is one, and I think it's going to be more apparent, and there needs to be the difference between the two, because if not, this industry just becomes more like the first option, and it's never going to be respected, and I don't think it's going to last long at all. But because of the world, the way it's going, it is going to be forced to go the other direction. I know I said that at first, it's going to die. I think it's going to be forced to go the other direction entirely, and the first is actually going to die off. And I think you're going to actually see more individuals like myself that are naturally good at this, that do show themselves by merit on the job, that are going to be in the details, that are going to be more protection related, that actually have a substance to them, that actually have some merit behind them, versus just that individual that gets hired on because he wants a quick paycheck. They're not going to last long. And that's one of the standards that I think needs to change. But I think there's going to be a segue of demand, because the way the world is going, and the type of individuals that I am and other people are going to fit the bill, because they're moldable by people that have higher experience and stuff and need it for whatever job it's going to be. And they have the individuals that are willing. But what in closing here at 30 minutes, I'm sorry if you made it this long. You're awesome, because this has been on my heart, and I know there's other people out there that talk about this because I talk to them. What I can see the industry as is completely contracting, and it's going to be more on an individual basis, maybe through several companies that prove themselves like, hey, he can actually do the job, and they're going to be more upset because you're already doing a detail when they need you, because they can't find anybody else. Or there is going to be companies that do have a core to them, that are going to be ready to go at whatever time, and they're going to be both in public, and they're also going to be doing these other ones. You know, you may have rotations and stuff going through them, but I think that the other version of the security industry, maybe even the name's going to change. Maybe the security industry that I am more involved in is going to turn more into that protection agent, and the name change will actually be a position change. That's like, I mean, it already is happening, but there's going to be a difference in the level of job. Like security is not armed anymore, and protection agent, regardless of what that is, armed with the mindset that can prove themselves to do the job, is going to be what people are more looking for in the Indeeds and stuff like that. But maybe I'm wrong on that. But that's, I'm also getting super tired here. Um, but let me know if you agree. If you can kind of see where I'm coming from. If you can't, that's okay. Again, you can completely laugh at me. I don't care. But I do see that there has to be a major change. That there's going to be a major change, and I think that starts at the company level. That they need to take care of their people a lot more. And they need to give less time for the individual to do the detail that they're, unless it's like super high, low level, and they don't care. They're going to go through 10 guards in a month. And they just keep hiring, but they get that nice government paycheck because it's a government contract to watch the homeless shelter or something like that. Versus the armed individual that proves themselves to be actually worth something. You know, that's actually going to stick around, that wants to be a contractor for you. You know, I think in the ownership levels, y'all should reevaluate and ask your people what they truly think, what they wish they had differently. Because I can tell you probably right now, 75% of Colorado security companies, the individuals in them that are not in leadership, not in ownership, hate the way you're running your company. Or if not, you're one of the lucky ones. I will say there's one individual that I worked for that absolutely I'd love to work for again, and he's been in the EP world for a long time, Barry Wilson. Awesome individual. I'll end it on that, guys. But there are good ones out there, and he's one of them. He just doesn't have a lot of EP stuff right now. But, you know, my point of saying that is they do exist. There's some of them that run the companies the right way, that are not in it for the the quick buck scheme, because there's a huge potential of making lots of money in this industry, and there's a big way you can lose it too. But the majority of it, they don't care, and that's what needs to change. All right, guys, God bless. See you next time.